Remember, my friends, there is a leader within inside all of us. Aloha, lightworkers, light guardians, shifters, dreamers across this beautiful multi-dimensional matrix. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Brendan, aka Mystic Spider-Man, and you are listening to a beautiful, exciting, inspirational, consciousness shifting episode of Leading the Shift with our magnificent friend here, our guest, Sharon, aka Share the Light. Thank you, Sharon, so much for joining. Sharon, go ahead. You can unmute yourself and make some noise and say hello.
Sending all my love to all of you beautiful people on this earth plane. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. So for those of you in YouTube, just to be able to confirm that you guys can hear us okay, drop some 1111s in the chat just to be able to make sure that you guys are all synced up and ready to go. For those of you who are still tuned in on our Instagram feed, click the link in either of our profiles to be able to tune in on YouTube. And yeah, we'll be getting things ready, and we'll be really creating some awesome conversation here. Again, for those of you who may be new to what I've been doing over the past many centuries and years, I'll just do a quick introduction. Again, my name is Brendan. I've been creating conscious media since like way back in 2009 and facilitating community, and I've always had my my eye open for fellow conscious creators who are out there making waves and really planting some powerful seeds. And of course, within that, we've been building this team, we've been building this community, and within this community, it's so exciting to be able to connect with Sharon. And Sharon was someone who I think we just kind of connected just like intuitively, and it wasn't even too long ago. It was probably like maybe like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9
Yeah.
centuries ago, give or take, moderately speaking. And yeah, again, just a quick plug for those of you who may be new to the content that I'm creating. You can check out more of our team podcasts on Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio. We do regular broadcasts here, and you can also connect into the Paradigm Shift Central community. We've got a Discord server. I've got a Patreon with a membership. All the links for that are in the info for this video, and you can check those out. And feel free to connect with me and DM me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man if you yourself are looking to connect with one of the many beautiful communities of conscious creators that we've gotten. And I say that because Sharon herself is literally also a facilitator for conscious creators and leaders as well. So with that said, we'll move right into this conversation. And with this episode of Leading the Shift, again, this is about being able to bring together conscious creators, and not just me and Sharon, but for those of you in the chat to be able to really ripple some inspiration and to be able to reflect more on what our deeper story is here, what is needed within these moments of this bigger shift in consciousness. So we'll be talking to Sharon, and we'll be talking about things that maybe you haven't even heard Sharon talk about. We'll be learning a little bit more about her story stepping into her personal awakening, leading the shift. Of course, one of the things that I'm super excited to be able to dive into is being able to talk about CE5, Human Initiated Peaceful Contact. Both Sharon and I are not only experiencers and contactors, but also big advocates and educators about this topic. This was one of the things that we connected upon. We'll also be talking about the many other things that Sharon does within the community as a circle facilitator, both physically and digitally, and even maybe I'm sure we'll be talking a bit about light language, and again, just kind of talking about absolutely, yeah. And then just kind of talking about what visions we hold for the future. And we'll also be doing some meditation closer to the end as well. So again, if you haven't connected with Sharon, you can find Sharon on Instagram at Sharethelight333. And be sure to check the link in her profile, her link tree, for more of her content. She's also a musician as well. And also, I'll just plug this real quick because we'll talk more about it later, was also featured on a new show that just aired on Discovery Channel, Travel Plus thingamajig. And it's all about alien encounters. Her and her fiance Tyler of Contact Tour were featured in that episode, and you guys can go rent that episode. It's like $3 to rent it. I'm gonna watch it after this, and yeah, huge waves being created there. So Sharon, with that said, we've gotten the introduction out of the way. Thank you again so much for being here, and please, in your own words, just go ahead and introduce yourself, and then from there I'll just kind of ask you some questions and we can just kind of go with the flow here. So welcome, Sharon, go right ahead.
Oh, thank you guys so much. And shout out to everybody who's in the chat right now. I always like seeing the live chat and just visualizing all those who are listening, not in live time because all time is now. So just sending my love and giving you a cosmic hug to all those who are tuning into this. And yeah, a little bit about me. It's funny because I it's interesting to share the storylines because we're, at least for me, doing healing work, and a lot of what we're awakening to are storylines. So as I reflect on my journey, I'm like, Where do I even begin? And where do I start? But I guess what feels relevant right now is my journey started in the work that I do. Working in primary mental health, I was a manager at a partial hospitalization program, an intensive outpatient program here in Newport Beach. I'm in Costa Mesa, and a lot of my service to this planet has been in caring for others. Before that, I was a medical assistant and have always been an empath and a deep feeler. So my more relevant experience, like my last 9 to 5 working in the matrix, being, you know, within the systems that I'm working to help break down so we can have more freedom for all, was in mental health. So I I'm just feeling into what I want to share right now, and I just want to take a moment to pause because I'm feeling a lot of energy. mm, mm. Triai shikia suturu triaya kaish kaish kush. Moro to triaya kia shataya kia tatriushu. Mo akai kashi atsaya shaka. Nia tuturi kuru shu koeka miroku tu shuru maraya ku ayakaishka. Nuru triya ishkia mokuku ishkia shu. Narikita ishkria miroku to triya ishkia miasha. Narikita triya ishu tsukuriya shu rakuru rakimiashi tsikita ishna. Nurutiria ishikatia ishkur kurkurkriamya ishkia suturia ishikits. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm feeling a lot of energy coming through. Like it amoroko shitsukuria shatsukuria literally my words. Dedia ishikutia shatsukuria ratatiria ishutsu shisuri yarakaria shatsuya ishukuru suranya yarakaria. Narashia tsukush usu tutria ishikitia morukotiria ishitsiki shiatsuturu yamyaraki shitsukuria shatsa yeshitsa. Wow. Yeah, thank you thank you all for holding space. This actually hasn't really happened where it's stopped me in my words right now. I'm feeling that this transmission is more important to share in this present moment. Okay. All right, guys. Calm down. Okay. So it's so funny. So I'm a channeler. So I'll start there. I'm a channeler. So I am I'm a conduit for working through and working with energies and clearing energy and helping move energy, and I'm a channel for source energy, for our guides, our higher selves, for the collective, and really working with the earth and whatever is present around me. And it's funny because I wanted to share the old paradigm. It's like, tell me about yourself. So we have, like, okay, well, let me go through my timeline of my life story and let me give that. And it's interesting in this time because I feel that it's where a lot of things are crumbling all around us, and it's almost like not really relevant, if that makes sense, at least for me and my channel and what's happening right now, for me to kind of share my background, but more what's present. But now that I'm starting to come back and my words are coming, I work with energy. I am an energy healer. I like to share, that I'm a leader of light, helping other light warriors, those who feel called to help the collective in whatever way that is. And I just help in any way that I am drawn to help in the moment. I do, as I was trying to say earlier before my guides came through, I do have a background in mental health. So that's where a lot of my background lays as far as doing my healing work. I've always wanted to help others, and managing a primary mental health treatment program. It was an outpatient program. So these were people who are just stepping out of hospitalization, just committed or attempted to commit suicide or had some form of an episode. And after they were discharged, this was their step down level of care. And as an empath, that was kind of like the catalyst into what I'm doing now, because it was really dense. This was, I was working when the pandemic hit and when everything was getting really shaken up. And what I found when I was working there is that there were actually a lot of star seeds and a lot of like just empathic deep feelers like I was, that thought in different ways. And I just felt like resonance with some of them and saw a lot of myself within them. And I remember one of the patients that I loved so deeply was in her late 50s. And she was a super galactic soul and just didn't really know that. And we connected somehow about CE5 actually. And I kind of let her know low key, like this is what I did this weekend. And because I was like buddy buddy with the patients, I was the only employee that was not a therapist or a doctor. I was the like only admin staff. So I was kind of like cool with the patients and a reporter with, our clinical team. So that was kind of what I noticed that hurt me, that I wanted to help and support because I am also a certified meditator. And I facilitated a lot of the meditations within our program. And I felt like there was a lot that I wanted to say and share, and that a lot of our patients were feeling, and a lot of activations that were happening that I kind of couldn't, and I didn't have the it wasn't my role to give them or share with them to the extent that I wanted to about consciousness and around, perhaps their psychic abilities, or perhaps, their star lineages, or, whatever I was feeling, their multidimensionality. I was seeing a lot of that. But, I working in a clinical environment and not having the credentials, I couldn't really go there. And I respected that. I was very grateful. The place that I worked at was more integrated with holistic, health. We had yoga there, meditation there, but we also had the psychiatrist and a lot of different things. So it was a really beautiful experience, but I had the desire to leave and just do and support more of the collective in the ways that I wanted to, where I could still hold space, I could still guide in meditation and help people on a deeper level with their healing work without having the constraints of biting my tongue or not wanting to step on toes or let alone get fired. So I, through social media and through my own awakening and the activation of my light language, everything kind of just like came together to where I was called to show up more online and just share my light codes. And through that, I feel that the community has just, where it's all, an energetic resonance thing when it comes to, finding our tribe and finding the people that we resonate with, especially online. It's a vibe, like, so I feel that a lot of the community that has grown together with me are in the same resonance. So it's been very natural and organic, and I've been able to find those who I can help, and I can talk to them about multidimensionality, and I can hold space for their channeling, and I can do all of the things that I'm doing now, not having to go into a building every day or put myself in a box or limit what I actually want to say and how I go about healing and serving the world, which looks, so different. So it's hard for me to say like, what exactly do you do? Because there's so many different things that I do. But I guess in short, I'm, just a healer, a way shower, somebody who's trying to help this planet as best as she can.
Beautiful. And again, it's fascinating just being able to hear your story. And again, as much as this is a podcast, like this is also just like, just me and Sharon getting to know each other too, so because I think maybe I'd heard before, but it's interesting because like the fact that you were already involved in an occupation, in a role as a healer, like
did you see my water just came out of my nose?
Oh no, I missed that. I'll have to go back and watch the replay. Is that must
Oh
be
my
some sort of
God.
good omen there? I think some sort of blessing. I'm sure.
Oh
So
my God. Yeah.
yeah. No worries. No worries. It's all good.
I love the human. I love the human
Right?
so
These
much. I
bodies
was like,
sure are weird sometimes. Sometimes they just like
I didn't know I could do that.
yeah, things just like like do this and that. Who knows what to expect? Each and every single day is a surprise.
So
So we're
funny.
still figuring it
Yeah.
out. Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say, it's interesting because you look at this story, and I think even for a lot of us, one of the things that's really powerful is basically to be able to open our mind to this idea that, you know, like who we are growing into is already encoded into us even when we're younger. And so this is where, you know, like before Sharon kind of knew, it's like, oh, you know, like someday I want to be able to create a beautiful community through social media and host these events and really kind of identify in some form or another as a facilitator for healing. And yet even when you were younger, you are already just kind of, and again, this is also a kind of a question, you were already kind of like naturally feeling the call to want to be able to be in the occupation of a healer, the role of a healer. And again, like even as you were doing that, like do you remember kind of like how young you were when you were already kind of like starting to see the bigger picture and tapped in? Like was that something that kind of was something you recall from a younger age, or was it something that kind of maybe, because I know for some people kind of like they'll have those experiences and they'll have those kind of like intuitive psychic abilities at a young age, they retain that, and then it might kind of dip away, they kind of like live in the matrix for a bit, and then it kind of like rises back and stuff like that. I'm just kind of curious, for you, if just kind of like where that kind of fits within your timeline, and again kind of you fulfilling that role of being an occupational healer, but then also evolving into the healer that you are today for the online community and physical community.
Yeah, no, I actually it's funny because I visited where I grew up. I grew up in Lawndale, which is really close to LAX and Redondo Beach, in between like Hawthorne and Redondo. Um, and I visited that place for the first time since I moved out, which was my freshman year. And I think because of trauma from my parents being divorced and my childhood growing up and bullying and a lot of things, my memory, a lot of my memory from my childhood is gone. Like I really don't remember that much. I feel that my awakening journey into becoming, and just doing what I'm doing now, which is healing work, started with my own depression, honestly, and anxiety, and having lots of panic attacks, and just trying to find something to help me, that was I actually I mean yeah, I can share this. Like I used to self-medicate. I would smoke a lot of cigarettes to help with my anxiety, mad weed. I would drink and use like stimulants and different things just to cope with what I was going through. I was actually reflecting on my awakening journey earlier today, and I was thinking about 2012 because that was like such a pivotal time. And I moved 5 times in that year. 5 times in one year was so much. So, um, through my own, just naturally becoming curious, wanting to like do something about life and figure myself out, meditation actually was my medicine and the catalyst for my awakening journey, and me realizing, oh, okay, I can actually help myself a lot with meditation. It's helping me with my anxiety, and a lot of my anxiety, which I found out later, was just me feeling overloads of energy around me all the time, and just not really knowing that it was just a lot of energy. And so I just labeled it as anxiety because that was the only thing that like made sense. And also it felt like it was anxiety, I felt that. But yeah, no, it just started with my own, with just myself, and helping myself was how I was able to start helping others over
Mm.
time.
Beautiful. Yeah. And even there again, you know, just kind of like figuring out just within that, at what point did the interest in CE5, and I mean, like, do you even remember, just like, did you have any contact experiences when you were younger? Was there any of that a part of your experience growing up? Or like at what point did CE5 kind of come into your awareness? And we can even just give like a brief introduction to CE5. And again, just even not even just
Yeah.
CE5, but really just this kind of awakening to, you know, like the bigger story of our galactic star family, and the fact that,
Hmm.
you know, initiating contact and them initiating contact with us is a big part of the reason why we're here. And we'll talk more about that as we go.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, again, through meditation, I felt like I was starting to remember a lot more just through just being present and working through myself. Before I personally was like to open my consciousness to other things, I really had to clear a lot of stuff that was happening within myself. And I feel like once I kind of worked through the deeper like blockages and pain points that were taking up a lot of space within my mind and my experience, and started getting more cleaner again within my mind, then I just started just putting, I don't know, it was just kind of like a natural thing for me to remember that I was just from the stars, that I have never fit in, and I've always been pretty weird and awkward and just different, because I was here to do something different. I was just here, for something bigger than what we have been told. And I feel like a lot of people feel that same way too. And again, it's just kind of naturally something that happens over time. As you go deeper within, you start remembering, like, you just start remembering whatever it is that you are, whatever you're called to remember, that's going to be helpful for you in your experience at the time. And with my like cosmic roots, as I reflect, I feel like it's just something that's always been within me, but I never really gave it too much attention. Um, but I had an interesting experience one time, and my mom is starting to open up more because she's waking up to more experiences that she's had throughout her life. But CE5 and this really came into my life with Tyler when we first started talking, and when we got together. Our converse when we first met, all we would talk about was consciousness, and he was more into like a lot of the stuff and kind of like the government and just like the military industrial complex, which I found really interesting. But I was just more on the consciousness, like thinking of the universe, like more of the
Mm.
universe rather than
How many years ago
extraterrestrial
was that?
specifically. About 2.5 years. Yeah, 3 years probably now. Tyler and I have had multiple lifetimes together as extraterrestrials. Like, one of the first paintings he made for me is actually like it's over there. It's we're based. I'm confident we're Arcturians in this vision that he just channeled and painted. It's really romantic actually. But we've have a lot of lifetimes on other planets. But this started again coming more online as we came into union and started, just we just came together in each other's lives. And he kind of planted the seed more for the for making contact. And he was like a super fan of Dr. Greer at the time, and was planting these seeds and was kind of uh teaching me from his experience and where his mind was at as far as like the state of the world and the government, and you know um like the cabal and the military industrial complex and ETs. And I was kind of helping him more on like the feeling and consciousness and our connection with the world around us, and more of the internal. And it's still the same now. We're both teaching each other still. And he has a great memory with how he's able to teach, and obviously, I help more with connecting deeper within and the feeling side of things. So that really hasn't changed. But as we started talking more and more, and he was just sharing his experience, these were activating different things within me. And I had a really interesting experience in meditation, where it was probably the first major encounter that I had within meditation, where, and this was right about the time that we started talking about this stuff. And this is how powerful we can activate each other just by sharing. And this is why sharing and having conversations and just speaking our truth authentically is so important and powerful. Is I had a meditation where I was having an out of body experience, and I was just sitting, and I was looking at myself, like out of my body, like looking, I can see my physical self, and then just and it went to my galactic self. And it was just so like in front of me. I was looking at myself, but then I was looking at myself as a like traditional silver gray being. So I was like, oh. And then I painted it. I have it on my Instagram. You probably have to scroll down below to see it. But that was one of my first like profound experiences where I kind of like saw myself in this other way. And yeah, just through sharing our experiences, we got together. I had my first sighting at Disclosure Fest, which is in LA. What? I don't even know. It's hard for me to keep track of days and times. I'm very but yeah, I had my first sighting, and we just naturally would hang out and just have our conversations and would look up at the sky. And we've had countless sightings at this point, and it just has evolved into again, just by sharing our experiences into what it is now. um yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's beautiful just being able to hear the story of you and Tyler, because even though for a lot of people are like just happening to come across you guys for the first time through social media, but I can already tell that for you two, like, you really do serve as a very powerful pillar within the community. And I
Hmm.
think, I know a lot of people, when they look to you guys, they see you as an example, as a leader. And it's so exciting because we are in this age where so many people are really starting to open their minds and hearts to these possibilities. And again, both for you guys, but also, again, something that I can relate to for myself. When we do have these experiences, these contact experiences, they become
Hmm.
something that are very personal, but then they also become something that is something that we can carry with us as an ambassador, and something that we can begin
Hmm.
to carry with us as a very powerful beacon that will give other people hope to know that, yes, this is real, and yes, this is possible. They don't have to wait to hear it from some official documented government authority or anything like that. Like, this is where, in the past like year and a half, things have been so incredibly exciting related to like the CE5 movement, and
Hmm.
cascading this cascading frequency of contact experiences that are happening. And
Yeah.
even just a few years ago, like I remember, and not even a few years ago, like literally like 10 years ago, I literally remember where I was just like at the point where I'm just like, man, like, I can't wait the day until I can like interview an alien on my podcast. And honestly, Sharon, amongst you and a few other people, I feel like this is it. Like, this is because again, like, being able to just kind of like reframe what it means to identify the concept of alien as something that may not be as alien as we think it is. And I'd love to even just be able to, again, tying this back to the collective shift in consciousness, and obviously the fact that, like, again, contact experiences and CE5 experiences, they're such an intimate part of your story. And I'm curious as to, on an intuitive level, like, why you feel that this is a part of your soul experience, and how you've seen it impact the reality of others, and what you see kind of like moving into the future. And again, even just like your understanding of what the contact experience is like, what our perception of aliens, how it's shifting and everything like that. So again,
Hmm.
and we can kind of talk about this. It's a conversation that you and I have had in other
Yeah.
formats, but I know for a lot of people, they're just like, yes, like, talk about this, because this is like making it more real, when we're not just talking about it as like a thing that's imaginative, but something that is actually tangible. This is experience, and this is something that's going to keep happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm just trying to feel into where to even begin with all of that. And yeah, we're multidimensional beings, and it just comes back down to, again, I like the way that I operate is very like micro macro, like micro as in, from a unity consciousness perspective, that we are emanations of the one infinite creation of all. And so when I feel into my own personal experience, this is how I feel into the energetics of what is happening, what's important, what's going on in the collective level. And I've had this conversation with myself and my galactic ancestors, my star family, and really just for me, it's been more about like, what do we do to save the planet? Like, it's not even so much about, contacting extraterrestrials. For me, it's been like, how do we save the planet? Like, how do we help Gaia? Like, how do we resolve, our climate issues? Like, how do we end poverty? How do we unlock, abundance for all? Like, how do we end the suffering? How do we, um, you know, open people up to feel more? And so, what I feel is again, speaking from my personal experience, which everybody has their own connection. And I think it's vital for us to realize that our personal connection and our personal experience and the ways that we feel called to do whatever it is that we feel called to do is important and unique to us for a specific reason. And for me, I feel that my role in this is just to help people feel more. And um, with just my very cosmic and galactic, connection naturally, which is it's just multidimensionality. I have to say multidimensionality. It feels very galactic and cosmic because it's just not so much like it just makes and it feels the most in resonance, but there's also a lot of like things that we can't explain. Just like there's such a wide range of energetics, but yeah, galactic and cosmic feels the best, but it's just so beyond that. That's why English is kind of hard for me sometimes. I just have to share with you guys, like speaking words is hard because it's so beyond like what we're talking about and what we're trying to explain is just beyond what words can actually justify to the level that I'm trying to share. So when it comes to CE5 and the importance of this work and my personal role in it and why I feel like it's so important is it's a way that is relevant to our time right now in activating and expanding more consciousness, because what is happening with just blatant, like they are here, they are showing up so much now, and I think it's reflective of the awakening that has been going on and us remembering more and more of our connection with everything and our connection with the stars, our connection with the planet. We're just opening up to perceiving beyond this physical realm, which includes seeing and being able to resonate with things and energies that are in higher frequencies and in higher dimensions, because we're naturally raising our vibrations, so we're able to perceive more of it. So this includes, light beings or these craft or whatever it is, our ancestors, angelic guides. Like we're seeing so much, so it's a very broad umbrella talking about ETs. I feel like it should be ETs is a good way to condense it, but I feel like it's way more than that. Just have to throw that out there. But anyways, so I feel like the importance is that if this is just a way to help activate more people in their experience, because it starts with the curiosity of, okay, this is on the news, like talking about the main people, be like, 3D, like people who are just, yeah, in that level of consciousness that aren't fully like adopting the way that we think and feel quite yet, but they're on their way. Maybe it starts with seeing it on the news, and then they have curiosity, and then they're like, okay, well, let me look into, whatever their avenue is to this subject matter. If they have the curiosity through what we're sharing of opening up that line of communication or just exploring a little bit more into what it is, if and this is what we want to do, if they have the willingness to make contact within themselves, what happens is that seed intention of wanting to make contact turns into a healing experience, because what's necessary in order to do this is consciousness. You need to be conscious in order to, what, not necessarily need to, that's a little confining, but it's one of the key and vital parts of making contact is to be conscious. And this means to be present, to have awareness of how you're feeling, awareness of your thoughts, awareness of where you are, and being in tune with your senses, and to a place where you can navigate and be in the present moment to set the intention to make a call. And as this is the seed intention for that, we share meditation and we guide in meditation. And again, this is how my personal healing journey started, is with meditation. So it's just one avenue, as there are many, but it's one avenue that we are being called to, and it's part of our soul mission here on earth to help activate and expand more consciousness. And this is just the way that we were assigned to do as earth ambassadors, as multidimensional beings here existing on earth during this very epic time of all the times we could have been born. Like, think about the state of the world. Like, this is like by far one of the most, like, you want the full range of frequency, well, you're getting it. And so Yeah, for me it's just about the healing for our human brothers and sisters, because we have to go within everything, again, micro macro, as within so without. We have to connect with ourselves in order to connect with something outside of ourselves, because we're not actually connecting with something outside of ourselves, you're actually connecting within yourself. And that in your inwards connection, then you're able, within this physical realm, able to get biofeedback, whether it is a craft or something profound within your meditation. But you have to go within. And I think that that is why it's so important and necessary. And why we do this work is because we need people to start doing their inner healing work, so that they can come to a place where they love themselves enough and can remember and feel into their connection with everything, everyone, the planet, and stop hurting each other and stop fighting each other, so we can come together and we can start creating solutions rather than separation. We can come together and we can live in harmony rather than out of balance. And again, this has to start with us. So if making contact and connecting with extraterrestrials is the way that we do that, we're going to do it. And this is just what we're called to do. And there's so many other ways about expanding consciousness, but this is our personal mission. It's just what we're here to, it's just divinely guided. Like I never would have thought, even 5 years ago, that I would be having this type of a conversation. Like 5 years ago, I was like in my experience, like I was going to work, I was just trying to get by, like I was dealing with my shit. I was just, like everyone else. And I think it's a beautiful time that everything that's happened with, the pandemic and a lot of shifts happening, whether we liked it or not, to happen, so we can start this process of everything kind of crumbling down, so we can rebuild from this more self-aware place. And I personally believe that they're here to help us with that, and they're here to help us with that through just their presence. And it's not more than that. Like, we have to help ourselves. They're not going to solve all of our problems. We have to go through this experience, but their presence here and just being a reflection is a huge catalyst for our awakening process and our journey of remembering all of this. So yeah, I'm grateful to do the work, and it still gets me every day. I'm just like, okay, we're here, we're doing it. I don't think about it too much. It's just part of our life now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to have those moments where you just, yeah, really just take that extra breath and be like, oh wow, okay, we're here, we're in that moment, like contact is
Yeah.
happening. This is a part of the story where things really 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 start to open up into a whole new dimension. And again, for those of you who may not be entirely familiar, CE5, this is a term that commonly associated and coined to Dr. Stephen Greer, who's again a contactee as well, and advocates and educates people about how to be able to make peaceful contact through the modality of meditation and consciousness. So CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. First is the common one that we know of, where it's just like a first encounter is like a sighting. Second one is where like a craft is interacting with the physical space, like hitting a tree or leaving a crop circle. And then a third one is where there's an actual sighting of the inhabitants of the craft. And then the fourth is where a human is actually brought onto the craft. And then a fifth is a human initiated contact. So just give you the quick overview there. And again, I remember when I first found out about CE5, I was so excited because I'm like, whoa, like this is possible. This is what I wanted to be able to have validation about. And then from there, actually feeling the inspiration to be able to experience it, because like that's it. There's a lot of different things that we can talk about related to CE5, and just to kind of like throw in my own way of being able to share a bit of my perspective. When we talk about these experiences, what I think is really important is to be able to approach it not purely as a spectacle, but really to be able to approach it with the intention of developing a relationship, and to really be able to understand that this relationship is one that, from a certain point of view, is actually, again, it's a journey of family. And that's where I think for a lot of people, the paradigm of being able to think that like all quote unquote ET are these like crazy scary high Hollywood movie type things. If anything, I think they're probably much more human than we realize, and I think they're actually, if anything, much more closer to our relatives. And this is where, and they
Mm.
also share a lot of common goals and a lot of common objectives related to wanting to be able to help assist with a collective shift in consciousness. And
Mhm.
this is where, within this, some of you have heard me use the phrase before, where even Lacey and my partner, when we were going up to, when we went camping one time, and we had our super vivid CE5 experience where a craft actually like came down, and it was close. Like it was within, like, it was like barely 100 meters away within the sky. It was like
Wow.
really, really, really low, and very intentional experience. We were up in a cottage, and we were meditating on the lake, initiated CE5, and we'll talk more about just the simple process of initiating it. And within that, though, just leading up to it, just to be able to pass this on, and Sharon has heard me say this, rather than just using the term ET, extraterrestrial, because I think that, again, they're more than that. They're not just extraterrestrial. If anything, it's more, a multidimensional being. And one of the
Right.
terms that we actually began to use instead of ETs was the term OUs, which we use to be able to refer to them as other us's. That way, so instead of saying like, oh, let's go make contact with UFOs, it would actually be like, let's go make contact with OUs, other us's. And then, so even there, that was us initiating this process of changing the language, which thus in turn changed the relationship. And then to begin to
Yeah.
open up to this idea that this relationship, as a multidimensional relationship, is one that, again, not only exists in the external format of craft and light in the sky, but is also one that exists within the internal space. And this is where
Mhm.
reminding people that the contact is taking place through the portal of the heart, it is taking place through the stargate of the mind, it is taking place through dream time, through meditation, through intuitive guidance. So, like this idea that there's many kind of like levels and spectrums of this reality, and I don't think it's necessarily our mission to totally be expected that we have to figure out all the sort of like details of it, but even just to be able to feel our intimate connection with it. And again, within this journey of CE5 becoming more and more common, it's serving as this beautiful initiator element. But what's happening again is that it's opening up people to a bigger story, and it's opening up people to also being able to see more of their potential within this reality. And I think that's where it gets very exciting and curious to just kind of imagine, like what is going to happen in the years to come relative to these contact experiences. Because there are stories, and I've heard people talk about this, of people who have accounts of literally like going on craft, literally
Mhm.
like going places. And sometimes, again, these craft, it's not always this idea that they're like literally coming from another planet. If anything, it's more they're kind of like coming in from another dimensional space that maybe even just be like overlapping our dimensional plane. And then you get into the idea that they could even be coming from like what we identify as like hollow earth realms. And if anything, again, they're like
Mhm.
actually more of our ancestors, and maybe they're actually like descendants and remnants of like Lemuria and Atlantis and things. You start really opening up these
Mhm.
ideas, and just to start feel them. And again, it really starts to just kind of like really invite you to start to see a bigger story. And with these contact experiences, it's one thing just to be able to talk about and hear other people talk about it, but to know that it is
Mhm.
something that can be experienced. And even for Lacey and I, when we had that contact experience, it was such a visceral experience, and it really like
Mhm.
opened something up inside of us.
It
and
does.
and and that relationship has continued on. It's something where, at any point in the back of my mind, I'll just kind of like look up into the sky or just take a breath, and I'll just be like, I can still feel that presence, I can still feel them with me. So as much as we are the quote unquote humans, the hues of mana, as I like to call us, we're here on the ground, we're fulfilling our part of the mission to help shift consciousness. But in some way or another, these OUs, these other us's that are the ones in craft and in, like traveling around and popping in to say hi to us, they're still us. They're just playing the role from a different part of the board, and they're the
Yeah.
part of us that is, again, and it's kind of, and I even want to be able to like kind of just hear a little bit more about your thoughts on what is the experience like from their perspective. Like it's fun, and
Mhm.
it's easy for us to be able to just kind of
Oh, it's
share
so fun.
stories from what we've known and what we've seen. But it's just like, do you ever take that time to just kind of imagine, like, from them, it's like, what are they doing, like what is their life outside of that moment? So again, I'm just kind of like shooting the shift here and
Oh,
stuff
what is
like
their
that,
life
but go
like?
ahead, jump right in if there's anything you want to share, and we'll just talk about
Oh,
CE5 for.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny because shout out to the Arcturians. Somebody put in the chat. Arcturians were actually the first beings that I personally connected with. 555 on the clock where I am. I love that. But when I first started channeling, I was connecting with the Arcturians, and a lot of my light codes, like I was just drawing nonstop, just like couldn't pages and pages and pages, and I was kind of channeling and getting downloads of like their ship. I don't know what they do on their free time, but when I was connecting with them, a lot of, or at least just the Arcturian beings that I was personally connecting with at that time, um, they're so supportive, but they're so like just they love. And I speak from my experience. They love us so much. I just remember like asking so many questions like where are you from like what is this like what is like where do you like what do you just wanting to know more like for me I was like what can I share with the collective like how what blah 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 all this stuff and um just always asking for more and it was very comical. I just remember this one experience that was coming to my mind where they were like, oh silly human, like we're right here, like we are right here within you, like is this not enough for you? And it's just funny and I always remember that because even just recently we've been having a lot more activity here at our room balcony. Like Tyler and has been waking up at 5 a.m. like every morning to connect with them, and he's been posting these sightings on Contact Tour if you guys want to check it out, like every morning. And I've been sleeping like so much, and it was interesting because the a lot of different experiences have happened within like the past 3 days. 2 days ago, I was looking up and again, Tyler's just more of like capturing the physical, like on camera, seeing the craft, and I'm more internal. And I was just, looking up at the sky and asking for a sighting. And, I was like, I'd love to see you guys before I go to bed. And they're like, we're right here. And I'm like, but I would really love to see you in the sky. Like, can you come through? And they're like, we are right here. Like, talking back to me in real time. And it just goes to like, it was again one of those moments where like they're kind of laughing and they're like, we're right here within you. Like, you don't need to go outside of yourself to connect with us. And that's one of the things that I personally, it's always changing our connection. And like when we're seeing a lot of craft or when we're having more internal experiences or more experiences in the astral, like just last night, I was having dreams where I saw these two saucers kind of fly vertically like this. There were two of them kind of like, so not your horizontal classic what you would see, but they were coming in and then they were going down like closer to the earth, and then it like zipped to this child talking to me. And she was, I don't remember the full conversation, but she was saying how it was like such a gift to like if you get a craft like this is like I don't remember the full conversation because dreams escape, but um yeah, just telling me like just giving me all this information about it. And anyway, so I wake up and Tyler's like literally having a sighting because my bed's right here and our balcony's right there. So he's having a sighting and I'm like dreaming and having these dreams and this experience with like this kid telling me about the craft, and this is all happening simultaneously. So I don't even know where I'm going with that, but yeah, there's just so many different experiences. I feel like yeah, they're probably doing similar stuff to what we're doing, just doing expanding their own consciousness, probably studying us, connecting with, trying to learn from the human experience, just as we're trying to learn within our own human experience about their experience, you know, doing cosmic things. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. When I
And
connect with them, they're always just like present with me. And yeah, and just feeling I did have one experience that was interesting though, if I can share it, where I did go up on it. Yeah, I went up on a ship. I shared this not that long ago, but I met this mantis being. Her name was Nule. Um, and I was just in meditation, and this is why meditation is so awesome, and everybody should at least give it a try if you're not already, and just set the intention to connect and see what happens. But I had this experience in my meditation where it was just morning practice, wasn't even really trying, but I got zipped up to a ship where and I don't really have very visual experiences all the time. It's more energetic and like emotional, and I can like just sense it and feel it in my body, and just comes out like through my mouth and my hands. But not very visual. But this experience was, and I got zipped up into a ship where it was just pure light, and in the middle of the ship there was a power source, and it was just like their main power source. And I just remember this mantis being, and I had like another being to the left of me, but the mantis being was just pure love, like feminine energy, just really, really just made me feel really, really safe. And um, I was just kind of taken and escorted around the ship into um, a series of activations. And just yeah, just feeling all of these activations that I was going through. And I remember I was tested on one of them. I got activated within more of my discernment. And yeah, I'm trying to like remember bits and pieces of it because it's kind of fading now. But yeah, we can have these experiences. Like, we don't have to go outside of ourselves to do it. We just need to go inwards in our consciousness. Like, there's an infinite sphere of possibilities, timelines, dimensions that we can access within our own consciousness if we just go in and go there. And that's just through intention of like aligning with what that is, or just being open and connecting with something, whatever modality you choose to go about that. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
so many.
So many, and
Yeah.
that kind of leads me into, again, something else I'd love to even just be able to talk about as ambassadors of this wisdom. And I think everybody has, as you said, the capacity to be able to receive this wisdom in their own way. I'm curious, so like, even just based on your own personal experiences with contact, what do you feel they want us to know? Like, and that can be a very simple answer, but obviously there's kind of layers to it, because again, that's something that I think is very important. It's inviting people to be able to say, like, it's like you can discover what they're here to teach us as well, but I think as well, like, what they want us to be able to know is the process of being able to help others tap into their own heart wisdom, being able to dissolve the illusions of boundary, being able to really begin to see more of this reality as a multidimensional shared dream reality. And it really just kind of, because that's the thing with the UFO experience, the UFO phenomenon, is that once you have it, you really just start to question what else is possible. Like, what is reality. It very much is kind of like, waking up within the Matrix. And oh man, the new Matrix trailer came out today, so it's pretty cool that we're talking about it today. But there's a
I'll
new,
have to
yeah,
check it out.
yeah. The trailer for the Matrix 4 actually just came out today. I did like a trailer reaction video and stuff on it, but yeah, we'll check it out. We'll talk more about that on a future
Yes,
podcast. But yeah, I'd love to just again kind of like
very much
talk
so.
about this for a second, and then I'd love to even just kind of like learn a little bit more about light language, and again, just how that is something that kind of began to kind of come into your experience, because I think it's such a beautiful gift. And I know, again, a lot of what you do as a community facilitator is you're helping other people act into these divine talents, these divine modalities, to be able to become like better conduits for consciousness. And
Right.
then through that, we ourselves get to be able to emit this frequency, to be able to share our elixir, to be able to share as a beacon that carries with it not just our own expression of this divine wisdom, but it's also kind of like a fractal that's coming through, like, from the star families into us and then out into the world, and it's kind of like going back and forth. Does that make sense? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that you first asked is like, what do you think their message is for us, and what they want to share, and the consistent theme that I always get from them, energetically and audibly within my consciousness, is that we are supported, we are loved, and everything is going to be okay. And just this feeling of, it's hard to describe, but it's just like pure love, pure support, and guidance, and just their presence here with us. And I know this, for somebody who maybe isn't so spiritual, and kind of thinks more analytically and on the science side of things. This is where I I pray that my words and my frequency that I share is enough just for you to try, because it's such a beautiful connection that we can have within. And I feel that the more, if we can even just feel that once within ourselves, it's so impactful on how we start treating other people around us. And it's just something that I want to be able to share with others to experience for themselves. And I feel like it's important for us to have our own experience, because when I look at the way that the world has been before, it's been very like information. This is what's real because this is what's being told to you, and this is what's being taught, and that's the end of it. And I feel like now we're just in a time where it just doesn't resonate anymore. It's not sustainable, and it's literally it's crumbling out of our experience because it's just not in resonance. And now we're within a frequency of intuition and more of unity consciousness. That's how I experience this. And again, like when it comes to making contact, it's this oneness that we go inwards to feel, and through the oneness we can connect with the ET aspects of ourselves. We can connect with the fairy aspect of ourselves. We can connect with our inner wizard or our inner healer, or our inner child or our higher, like it's all within the same realm. And every time I've connected with them, it's always just been a feeling. It's always just been a very clear, just supportive, like you can keep going, just keep doing what you're doing, keep sharing your frequency. And as a human, it's challenging because, at least for my specific role, even just speaking about these things, I feel like I am limited in how I can even begin to describe what I'm sharing. So that's why light language has been just a beautiful way of expressing, for not just myself, but so many beautiful people on this planet who are sharing these codes. And I think it's supporting. It's like a bridge for me to help share and cultivate an actual experience of feeling that's hard to describe in words. And so, if somebody's coming on an expedition, and at least and as this has happened before, like somebody who's completely skeptical, like not really about it, and not really like trouble focusing in meditation, just a little bit like having a hard time, but sharing light language, it's a way for them to connect to their feeling and their heart space that helps them kind of snap out of the analytical and helps them move inwards. And so I feel that light language is a beautiful tool for making contact and just existing here on earth during this time. But it's been really, really helpful in just raising my vibration and the people around us into a higher state of frequency, so we can align and connect with these galactic beings, so we can make contact in the way that we've had, because it all comes back down to energetics and yeah, energetics and resonance, and where we're feeling is emotion, it's energy in motion. So again, it's back to feeling connection, and how can we cultivate more of that within, so we can experience that more without, which activates more within. It's just this infinite cycle, ebb and flow of in and out, just like the breath. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can even take a moment even just to, explain a little bit more about light language and just like your interpretation of it, because it was interesting. We were doing a tarot reading the other day, and one of the cards that we actually pulled from the Oracle deck was all about light codes. And I was like talking about it for like at least like 45 minutes. And
Yeah.
I get really excited talking about the concept of light codes. And from my way of being able to explain it, right now we're using language. We're using the English language. We're speaking through something that a lot of us are quite familiar with. But within this reality, there is a primordial language, and that language is the language of symbols and frequency. And so when we were talking about light codes, very much is kind of like the code of the matrix. It's something similar to kind of like the base structure that this reality is built upon, but also the kind of current that energy is moving alongside. It is the way that emotions kind of move from one person to the next. So the fact is that we are constantly emitting light codes. We are constantly, carrying with us a version of light language. But right now, this light language is being expressed in English. So that's where, again, these codes, just kind of like a computer software, they have the ability to have an effect on people. They can literally activate, just the idea that if I were to say something to you, if I were to say, just the idea of like imagine a cat, people right now, you can't not imagine a cat, just literally because I've said that. So it really brings us into a deeper place of being able to understand, the codes that we're carrying inside of us, how we're bringing those out into the world, the leadership and the responsibility involved with that, and really just reminding people that, your voice is such a powerful thing. But the light codes that you carry and that you express, these are light codes that you're expressing through a variety of modalities. This is light codes that you're expressing through your spoken word, but is also through your physical engagement, through your touch, through your art, through your paintbrush, through your music. And that's where, again, I know with your music, you do a beautiful job of really bringing to the surface. It's like this amazing compilation of just like light language that is both the electronic digital bass music, like the background music, and then the actual vocal music that is your spoken word as well. But yeah, again, just kind of riffing on this, and if you just want, maybe even just, imagine for people who aren't familiar with light language and light codes, like how would you explain it, and why is that important for us to know when it comes to leading the shift?
That's a beautiful question. Yeah, light language, it's just a way of expressing frequency. I personally feel like my relationship with it has been one that when I am expressing frequency from it, and again, like you said, this can come out through whatever way is in alignment with our true soul authenticity, whether it's through your voice or through your hands or through your art or through your music or through just how you um, work with the land or whatever way that it moves through you. This is your true essence. It's your true soul frequency, and how taking down the walls of your ego, taking down, the layers of everything that confines you into a box. It's the way that you express yourself as freely as you can, almost like an inner child. Like we think about, babies and children who just kind of, they have their own language because they don't have the words yet, but they're expressing how they feel through the ways that they are expressing themselves. And sometimes it's like, or crying, whatever, the way that they're expressing themselves in that moment, singing, or kind of like, so I feel that it's almost kind of like that remembrance and connection back with your true essence, your connection to source, and your purity, which is so beautiful in our children. And we have a lot to learn from the children in this sense. So it's almost kind of like a coming back home to this, and it's used for so many different things. I feel like it's a beautiful way to just help ourselves work through energy. And we all have access to light language, and light language, it's just like a term that we've all kind of agreed to again categorize in the ways that the human works, the way that our minds work, and the way that we're able to identify things. But it's I think kind of a paradox too, because it's not even really a link, because when I think of language, I think like this word has this meaning, and with light language, it's not necessarily like this word has this meaning. It's like this is a frequency, and it is so multidimensional and so vast in what it is doing, because it can, do so many things. It can activate you. It can help clear blockages. It can make you feel really, really, it can help like make you laugh. It can help you, have visions or connect with a memory, or like it's the amount of different things that I've heard that people have experienced just by listening to, my light codes or even anybody else's light codes. It's just profound. It does so much. And you can hear something like this. You can have like a room of 10 people and somebody sharing light language, and all 10 people could have a different experience. And that's why it's like kind of limiting to say it's a language, but we're here. um but it's a beautiful, beautiful tool, especially for the time now, because again, we're going through the shift of information where things are being told, and there's all this stuff that's being like pushed into our faces, and we're in a pivotal moment where we need to use discernment. And in order to have discernment on what's true for me, is we need to know what feels good and what feels in alignment and feels, you know just it feels right, and what doesn't feel right. And I feel like from that place we can move through life and navigate, our experience a little bit smoother when we have that intuitive connection with just following the path that excites us most. And light language is a beautiful way to help us kind of just activate more of our connection with our feelings, and also outwardly, and use our human vessels to work with energy and the infinite ways that we can. Like there's people who do incredible things with light language that I don't personally do, but I'm grateful that they're doing that work, because again, this is why unique. It's unique to your just true soul frequency, and like how you work with energy. So everybody has their own beautiful way of expressing themselves. And yeah, this is just how it is for me. And we all have it, and it's different for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think you do a great example of being able to bring it into the public communal space with such play and such confidence that for other people to see it, they're just like whoa, like she looks like she's having fun when she does that, and even
Oh,
when
it's
they
so
get
fun.
to so fun, and even when they get to experience it. Again, what you're doing, you're literally providing them with an experience. So, like as much as like seeing a UFO is one thing, people can
Mhm.
also tune into one of your videos, and they may be able to feel something within inside of them where it almost kind of like turns the key. It begins to kind of open
Yes,
up something within their chest that they may not even fully be able to understand, but they can feel it. There's like this deep feeling.
exactly.
And so again, with light language and everything, and just keeping an eye on the time, and we'll get close
Mhm.
to concluding things, and we'll do a little bit of a meditation, and invite Sharon to even do a little bit more light language in the meditation if that's something you feel called to do. But one of the
Sure.
things I was gonna just take a moment here to be able to reflect on again is like moving into this future, and I love the fact that you're holding these sacred spaces for people to be able to tap more into their divinity, to be able to tap more into their leadership and their inspiration.
Mhm.
You do host the circles for meditation, as well as the circles to be able to help create the space where people can begin to play with their light language. And one of the things I just wanted to be able to again just kind of like sharing the excitement with is the experiences that are rippling out from what you're doing, where it's actually inspiring like younger generations. Like I know you've posted this before, where people would reach out and they'll be like, oh, like my daughter has seen your videos and now
Right.
she's doing light language, and it's really just like
It's so
changing the way she's showing
different.
up. So I'm just seeing again, like this whole paradigm that we're moving into. This is one where again it's shifting into a place of sovereignty, and it's one where it's activating leaders. But I just wanted to be able to invite you to reflect on, you know, what it feels like to be able to observe the impact that you're making and the amount of gratitude that people have for what you're doing, how that continues to nurture and inspire you, and even just the importance of these spaces, and again just kind of holding this vision for the future of ahead of us. So yeah, just kind of that
Yeah.
in one thing. So
Oh, I get emotional thinking about that, because this has been something that I've been actually moving through with August, and the current energies is like realizing the amount of impact that we actually have as leaders. And um, yeah, just on like a personal note, like experiencing, the new show with Discovery Channel, and like feeling like there's like this balance of like, again, like how do I help the world and how do I do more, and just like, yeah, just it's a lot. I feel so much, and I'm honored to to do this work and to help people just feel supported in their experience. Because again, like I just think about mine and what it felt like when I first started. I mean, even back to, like I mentioned a little bit, like being like a kid and being bullied and like experiencing my childhood town, for the first time in like years, and like literally having amnesia, like not even remembering anything, and realizing the state of the world, like in old friends that are coming back into my life and kind of where they are mentally, and my and like just all of the different levels of consciousness that people are in. And so there's like this teeter totter of like staying balanced within how much I feel for the collective, and staying empowered in like leading them and making sure that I'm taking care of myself so I can lead. And also, staying not not absorbing like witnessing and observing but not absorbing. And so I don't think about it too much. It's something that I've been thinking about a little bit more, and it's been I feel this urgency. I feel like this urgency to help as many people as I can. And in that, again, we can help this ripple effect. Because I mean, the reality, it's again, it's such like a teeter totter of like, this is a human experience, like everything is gonna like happen as it's meant to, but also things are happening, and like there are actual like issues that we need to do something about. And I want to see a change for our children, especially the ones, that are going to be birthed into this world, and like what kind of world are they going to live in. And so I'm just doing my best, and I'm just trying to help as many people as I can, because it's just, I don't know, it's just what I'm here to do. And if I can help with somebody not feeling so alone, or feeling like they actually have a place that they can check into, rather than isolating and absorbing the energies because they're feeling so much, or God forbid self-medicating like I did, for a while. We're all just just here helping each other in the ways that we know how. And yeah, so um it's an honor, and I will do everything that I can for our collective, until I pop out of this human form and blip into another one. And I'm sure I'll do the same thing in the next life. But yeah, it feels I don't even there's not a word. Like I don't know what word to use. Important. It feels uh very um empowering,
Also very
uh
natural too. Like speaking from my
natural.
own experience, like I can't imagine
Hmm.
myself doing anything but this,
Me
like
neither.
this is just
And
me
yeah,
being me as you are being you.
exactly. Thank you. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've all just like, it's interesting because there's just, it's such a major shift that has happened, that even just reflecting on like last year, or like years years and years before, at least for me, it's like challenging. It's like my higher self is just like, no, presence, right here, right now. What are you going to do? Like, or how can you just anchor in what you're feeling right now, right now, right here, right now? And but it's, again, we're like, yeah, just going back, it's, yeah, there's so many different things. It's a healing journey, you know what I mean? Because it's emotional, thinking about the world, and thinking about who I was before and what I'm doing now. It's just, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, again, like it's interesting just like having this conversation because I hear a lot about what it is that you're doing, and I'm just like, man, like that's like basically like what the OUs are doing, where again, like they're holding space to be able to give us permission to be more of ourselves, and that's a lot of what
Yeah.
what we do as community facilitators. And
Hmm.
even going back to like, what is their message? I think one of their core messages is to be able to help remind us that we are healers, and by healers
Yeah.
I also mean like like not only just alchemists, but also like carriers of harmony. it goes back to that
Mm,
simple quote that
yes,
if you want to be able to create peace in the world, create peace within yourself. And I think for each and
exactly.
every single one of us, like that is the work, and that is the work that is something that we can practically embody every single day, where we intentionally fill ourselves up with love, we fill our cup with love, and that is what I feel the OU, the ET, the Galactic Family, they're here to be able to
Mm-hmm.
help us assist with that. They're like, hey, we're going to help fill you up with love so that you can continue to pour from your saucer, pour from your overflow, to be able to help others as well. And again, that naturally
Yeah.
happens through this process of being able to connect deeper into our heart space. And again, and I think
Mm-hmm.
you do such a wonderful job of that, and it's beautiful to see so many people connecting with you in a very natural way. I think when they see you, one of the things that's very attractive is the playfulness that you bring to your work, and that's something that I always incorporate into my energy as
Yeah.
well, because like this is something that we can
I
have
love your
fun with.
skits.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks.
They're so good.
Thanks, I try. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it's important for us to, again, continuously, we often refer to it as being able to tap into the inner child, but what we identify as the inner child is actually like the that's creator, like that's us, like
Mm-hmm.
we associate child as being, like childish and everything like that, but no, if anything, it's just like the uninhibited rawness of being able to fully express the light of our being.
Exactly.
And so when
Thank you.
we
Mm-hmm.
carry that with us now, we don't have to say, oh, this is me nurturing my inner child. It's like, this is me just like nurturing my inner light, and really being able
Yes.
to, again, carry that with us in a way where we become literal like emanators, beacons, like holders of this frequency, and that does
Yes.
change the world. Because I think as leaders right now, there's obviously a lot of people who are kind of like getting sucked into the stories of chaos, and when they see people like you and me and the people who are tuned into this broadcast, that's something where they can co-regulate to the harmony that you embody. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, totally on the ball every day, but when you have community like this, community like
Right.
what Sharon's facilitating, what I'm facilitating, we create these sacred spaces where we constantly, like the breath, kind of like bring ourselves together, go back out and do awesome things, bring
Yes.
ourselves back together, focus
Yes.
back into the heart space, recharge, nurture, heal, go back out and
Mm-hmm.
do it again. And we find this rhythm and this in the magic of that rhythm. And again, it's so exciting to just kind of really begin to feel the future that we are moving into, and there's so much hope. And I think
Yeah.
through people like you and me, and again, the people of this community, we carry with us a vision of hope, and knowing that this whole story of like ET contacts and everything like that will continue to unfold naturally, but
Yep.
without us having to expect or wait for it. Like that will be something that, the further chapters of that will continue to arrive when we are ready. So as we continue to shift our personal vibration, and again, I do want to talk about, because I mentioned it
Mm-hmm.
earlier, just like a little bit of practical instructions for those who are tuned in right now about how they can experience CE5, and how they can go
Yeah.
out and make contact as well. And again, we experience what we are. So for all the leaders out there, it's great to be able to feel a calling, to be able to want to go out and to make contact, and to play with all of these new modalities and energies and everything like that. But again, at the simplicity of the level, like you are here to be able to raise your own vibration, and not just to be able
Yes.
to raise your own vibration, but to be able to like anchor in that vibration of your highest truth, the highest truth of the collective, which is, again, like harmony and healing and potential and magic, and to bring that into your heart in a way where no one can knock it away from you, no one can take it from you.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have really cultivated that as your own personal philosopher's stone, like
Yes.
that is like something that you carry with you each and every single day, and you align yourself with this story of being able to say, like, I have come here to be able to take part in this incredibly beautiful story, and
Mm-hmm.
it will be challenging, there will be ups, there will be downs, it will be healing, it will be chaos, but at the end of the day, it is nothing less than incredibly magical. And I think we owe it to our OU friends and families to really just continue to show up, again, not simply like as our best, but simply show up as our authentic self. And in the process of
Yeah.
doing so, things will naturally unfold. So bringing in that softness, bringing in that gentleness, bringing in that play, and yeah, it's a very
Mm.
exciting time to be here. And Sharon, again, I'm so grateful that we've been able to connect, and it's really cool to be able to see a lot of myself in you and vice versa, and yeah, just see
Yes.
both of us. Like no one told us to do this, like in terms of leading community, like this is just us doing us. In the same
Yeah.
way that for everybody else, you do you. How do we inspire you to sing your heart song and sing your magic out into
Mm.
the world? So, yeah, again, Sharon, anything that's on your heart right now, and maybe we can just hit upon practical tips for contact, and then from there we can get close to segueing it. And I know you also
Yeah.
wanted to talk a bit about your music as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just taking a moment to feel and just so much gratitude for everything that you just shared because yeah again I see you as a beautiful reflection and again it just comes back to that remembrance of that we are all just emanations of each other of creation itself, so it's beautiful to have you just verbalize so much that I resonate with and even just put words to a lot of what I would like to verbalize myself, but just my beautiful reflection and brother here just like so elegantly. Like I just love you so much and thank you for everything that you shared. And um yeah, like for all the leaders out there, this really doesn't have to be anything strenuous or stressful or like hard. It's really just you being yourself, and um being ourselves comes back down to our connection with ourself. And I feel that that's all we really need to do is we just need to you know, hold compassion for ourselves every day in all moments, even if we're having a hard time, and really acting upon our inspiration when we feel good and aligned in whatever ideas come to us, and just like going for it and just having that really open playfulness of this sounds exciting, like let me just go and do it, and just know that there's so many of us that are right here with you and that are doing our part and our role, and just know that even if you know, your idea or whatever it is, we we need all the space holders we can get. Like don't worry about anything else. Like if it lights you up, if it excites you, just go out and do it. And yeah, like even for me, I'm still figuring things out. Like I literally I I don't even really know what I'm doing sometimes. I'm just like living day to day and just again trying my best, showing up for those who I love, holding space in the way that I have learned just from what I needed in my own personal experience. And I think that if I can just share like a word of advice is just, you know, if you're thinking about what do I do, how do I help, you know, just look back at your own personal life experience and like what has helped you, like what have you overcome in your own experience, and how can you use like the tools that you've learned from life, um you know, whether that is your art or whether it is activism, or if it's something, you know, like meditation, like what I do, something simple. You know, just know that all medicine is needed and your authenticity is the medicine, and just being you is all you need to do. You don't need to have the credentials anymore. You don't need to fit into these boxes and have all of this stuff. You can, if it excites you, go for it. I mean, I'm starting to educate and like learn some new stuff too, just because it feels exciting. But just know that you can just be yourself, and that's more than enough. And we just need you as you are. So, yeah, I love and support every single person who's just doing their best and trying to help. Um, and so yeah, I'm cheering for you guys. And just to shift into making contact, you know, if that's something that you feel inspired to do too, um, for just to simplify things, my process is, I mean, it's been kind of very natural at this point now of just because it's part of it's just been incorporated. But for somebody who's just started, just set the intention of, you know, connecting with whether it is your galactic star family or just extraterrestrials or with light beings or just you know, your ancestors, whatever it is that you actually do want to connect with. Maybe you just want to start with your higher self and just start baby steps there. Just set the intention, and going deeper into your intention really does help it manifest, as in why is this important to you? Like, what are you hoping to get out of this? Like, do you want to open more of your heart space? Do you want to expand your consciousness and are having trouble? For me, it was like I wanted to get messages to help the collective. So my seed intention deeper than that was helping the collective. And that's why I wanted to connect. And so, yeah, just really coming back to your intention. And meditation is a great starting point, but you can also just hang out and just be present and have a good time. If you're with friends, having a conversation and actually like releasing attachment to seeing anything, like just you going out there and saying, hey, let's just drop in and see if we can make contact and just be in each other's presence. Even that is enough, I think. And what I've been learning more is it's just like kind of feeling the energetics and following what's most exciting. Like if you don't feel like meditating, don't meditate. Stargaze, look up at the sky, listen to music, and just hang out. And I think the more fun and connection you can have with those around you, the more you'll be able to raise your frequency to a state to where they'll come in. Because if you just think about this like just like a person that you're trying to connect with across the street or something, like if you want to wave to somebody, you have to actually say something. You have to let them know that you're saying hello. And if you want them to come over, you have to invite them to come over rather than like just staring at them from across the street, just like brain power, like just like trying to, you know what I mean? So just there, we don't have to make it overcomplicated, and I think the more you can just simplify it, the better. There's a lot more, if you want to go more in depth, you can, but just to keep it simple and sacred, like set the intention and drop in, connect within, or go outside and just hang out and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll just add into this because again, I know a lot of people are curious and a lot of people are quite new to the idea of contact and I think for me in addition to what everything else you said, it's so important to be in that heart space because oftentimes since it's such a fascinating idea, it can be very easy to get into our mind and just be like, oh my god, like I'm so excited about this and I want it to happen 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 and I want it to happen. That want is actually almost creating a blockage, and what you have to, what I find is being able to just be like, I am open to receive what I am ready for. I am open to be able to receive this as a gift, So instead of saying like, hey, I'm doing XYZ and you guys aren't giving me anything, and then you actually get frustrated and then you project this like there's almost, whether it's intentional or not, there's almost like a little bit of like animosity. It's like, why won't you show up? Am I not good enough for you or something like that? But again, like even in those moments, much kind of like even within the practice of dreams and why we get dreams, we receive the dreams that we are ready for. And so, before you even get out there, just take a little bit of time to, like Sharon said, to really be able to reflect and also to be able to even just kind of like clear away some of the energy that may be just kind of like in your field, if that means again just like doing a little bit of like somatic movement, physical movement, again even just like kind of preparing by being able to really start focus on loving yourself, because kind of like with what I was mentioning earlier, it's a vibrational frequency match. So if you're again kind of like in one frequency but they need you to be in another frequency, it's almost like a mathematical equation that's just not syncing up. So if you were to just be like, hey, you know what, like I really feel called to make contact, but I'm not gonna rush it, and in fact I'm gonna spend a month really taking care of myself, really taking care of my well-being, of my physical vessel, of deepening into my practices, exploring a little bit more of my creativity, and to really be able to understand that the modality that's happening here, the technology that we are using, is the technology of our body and the technology of consciousness. Not that consciousness is a technology, but the body is a technology. And so what's happening is, again, it's the communication from the mind-heart coherence. And this is a big thing within it is, this is why the meditation is important. You get into that mind-heart coherence. And when you do that, it allows you to kind of like tap into to the collective internet of consciousness, so to speak. And that's where you can send out the signal. And that's where, you can just kind of send out the ping and just be like, hey, this is where I am, letting you guys know I'm here. If you would like to come visit, I invite you in. I love you. Thank you. I am open to receive. And you can kind of just keep it simple. And then even in those moments, maybe something will show up, maybe it won't, but allow yourself to just be able to find gratitude in that space simply by marveling up at
Definitely
the
gratitude.
sky, and perhaps
Yeah.
being with somebody else, or just being in the solitude of that moment. And
Hmm.
and the other techniques, and this is where again it kind of gets into the protocols of CE5, but again CE5 is just one kind of box version of how to go about it. That's where, Sharon and I, we sometimes don't even use the term CE5.
I like
That's where
cosmic contact.
cosmic, that's what I mean, like cosmic contact, like peaceful initiated contact, something like that. I think cosmic contact is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
The other way, I'll just say this and I'll pass it back to Sharon, that they also
Yeah.
reiterate within CE5 is the process of vectoring. This is where again you almost kind of like imagine from a top down perspective your location, and then you kind of like visualize that with as much clarity as you can, and that kind of like zooming in on you from a
Hmm.
bird's eye view, and basically just saying like, this is
Remote
where I
viewing.
am.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like take a snapshot of that within your mind, and then you kind of like send that out as like an attachment on the email that you're sending up into space, so to speak. But again, it's not
Hmm.
even so much that it's like, hey, I'm sending this up. Again, it's really the inner connection. It's not just outside
Yeah.
of you, it's really about being able to go inner. So for those of you
Yeah.
who
You
again,
actually unlocked a
go
lot of
ahead, yeah, and
different.
then I'll jump in.
Yeah, yeah, you actually unlocked a little different types of methods of making contact. And when I say this, like, so these methods you can use, but I also just want to emphasize that it can be as simple as just setting the intention and being done with it. Um, and that can be it. But to get more detailed and different methods that you can try is what Brendan just shared as far as like remote viewing, kind of like dropping a pin, kind of visualizing where you are and zooming out outside of Earth, outside of the Milky Way, and then back down. If you're another thing that you can do that actually works really well is you can write a letter within your mind. You can write a letter and just like envision, and when you go and do this, it's actually interesting because we write, when we write or even typing or texting, we do this so much that it's very easy to visualize, just in case visualization might be a little bit harder. But you can even like send a message in that way, like, hey, what's up? My name is, and introducing yourself too, I feel actually really helps a lot. Introducing who you are, that you're here on Earth, and that you're open to hang out. If it's safe for you, if then come through. I'm very casual with them. Like I just talk to them like any other person. I think again, like the mind can get in the way of like, I have to do this and this and that, and it doesn't have to be uh, overcomplicated. And but yeah, just speaking out loud even. And one of the things that came up while you were sharing that I wanted to drop in here too is if you are kind of going through something, you can speak to them and just open your heart to them, and you can almost kind of like just journal out loud, because I've been in dark places too, and I've struggled with different things, and just speaking out loud to them, and in a way of just asking for support, they've actually come through a lot when I wasn't even in my highest state of vibration, and I think that's beautiful because it shows that they're here to support us even when we're not feeling our best. And I verbalized different fears that I had to the sky, and different things that I've been going through. And I actually had the most sightings ever in my life in one night when I was just speaking to the sky. Like I was just speaking to them out loud and processing out loud. And so I think just again, the more you can connect with yourself, um, it can just be that simple. So I'd love just start there. Just start
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Again, like really
Mm-hmm.
just being able to see it as a conversation, and just being open
Yeah.
to speaking from your heart, and
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, again, just reiterating, it's like, yeah, like it may not be a day where you're like, hey, like I'm a super high vibe, ready to rock and everything like that. But again,
And that's
just
okay.
that's okay. Like, that's totally
Yeah.
okay. So again, I think even just kind of like knowing that possibility exists, and again just kind of like being open to be able to receive, and that's where again, with these experiences, it may not literally be something where you put out the intention, and it may not be something where they literally show up as a light in the sky or a craft. It
Right.
may be something where you're sitting there under the sky, and then you're kind of closing your eyes and you meditate, and then within that moment, you know, you either might have a feeling, you might have a
Right.
vision, you might have a voice.
Yes.
Sharon, go ahead and just talk
Mhm.
about that for a little bit. I just gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I'll be back, and then I'll make sure that I'm ready for the meditation. But go ahead, Sharon. Just maybe even talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Do your thing, man. Yeah, there's so many different ways that we can experience contact. And I think that the more that we can just play around within our inner world, the more we can just experiment and kind of just see what works for us. Like I was sharing a little bit earlier, for me, like I went outside and I wanted to see their physical craft, but I was getting their direct responses within like seconds of me speaking out loud. So that's just how I connect, but it's going to be different for all of us. So I think even right now, we can even just tune in. And I know we're going to meditate when Brendan comes back, but just for those who are here right now with me, just take a moment to shift inwards and even close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and exhale. And I just want to help you to set the intention right now, just to open yourself up to making contact with those benevolent beings of the highest light of galactic source, and just let that be sent out and let it go, and just let that go, and then just be open to what happens for the rest of your day. And I'm glad that I actually did that, because this seeded in something that I wanted to share, that I think is important for somebody who's just starting out, and this is more on the channeling side of things, is to set the intention to connect with peaceful, benevolent beings of the highest light. Because I feel like when we're first starting to work with energy, or making contact, there is a lot of subconscious programming that we've been given throughout our life, whether we're aware of it or not. And there is a lot of subconscious fear about, you know, feeling things that we maybe haven't felt before, or just, you know, ETs in general. I mean, a lot of you know, movies and programs that we have out, like Alien and Predator and like Mars Attacks, like there's programming there to where fear can be birthed from. And this was something that I personally worked through too. So it's normal to feel that. So just to set the intention again for your own human, for your own consciousness, for your own spirit, to clearly you know, intentionally verbalize that you are connecting with only the beings of the highest light of benevolent source, will help to, and again, let it go. Just set the intention, let it go. Don't spend too much time on it. And just setting that intention, so you know, and kind of state that within your own field, so you know that anything that is coming through is only going to be that which you set the intention to manifest for you. Just and that just helps the experience too, because I feel like, at least for me, in the beginning, when I was just like, I'm open to receive, like I'm opening my channel, and it's like, okay, well, you just opened your channel, but you didn't really like specify what you were opening yourself up to. And the power of our word and our energy is like so, and like, and I'm saying this for those who may have fears. Like if we're, and this is why there's like so many different angles, but for somebody who's already like in a high vibrational state, like you are just a very like happy, loving person, this, you might not even need to go there. But if there's like a lot of like underlying things happening, and again, this is where it comes back down to the healing work and like your beliefs and like different things that have happened. Because when we go inwards, you know, it just helps to set that intention. I'll just leave it at that, because I'll go on a tangent about like healing work, because it's all energetics, you know. So yeah. um yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, and again, I know this is a topic where we can definitely just go
There's so
pretty
many
deep with
angle.
it,
Yeah.
and a
Hmm.
lot of different ways in which again experiences can occur. Again, I know
So many.
when Lacey and I, when we had our experience, again we had our laser pointer, which again tool wise that was helpful. I know Tyler, you guys use radios,
Hmm.
and then sometimes like communication actually comes through radio chirps
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, we did a fun experiment. We're working on a recap in Sequoia. Yeah, we actually had the most uh, okay, yeah, I'll try to condense it really quickly because I know we're going on for a long time already, but it's really cool. So I'll share. But yeah, radios are a great way to use as a modality for them to communicate to you through. We usually have two walkie talkies. We set them to the same frequency so that if something comes through one, it'll go through the other as well. And usually when they communicate, them being on the same frequency, they'll only come through one radio and it's more isolated. So they're interactive, which is interesting because normally, again, like if you're using it or if something's coming through the frequency, it should be on both walkie talkies. But we recently had an expedition in Sequoia, like deep in the woods, no service, pretty high up. And um, one of the nights we were getting just so many chirps coming through the radio nonstop for over an hour. It was nonstop for open an hour. And this was only going through one radio. And we moved it to like far away from the group. We moved it in different parts of the land. It was still happening. So one of the things that we did is I started counting like how many chirps. I was like chirp, 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 just taking my pen and following it. And what we did is I have like there was like almost 2 pages worth of this. But we did is we tried to create somewhat of a code to decode the transmission that was coming through. I don't know how accurate it was because there were some moments where there were so many chirps that it was hard, you couldn't even keep track of it. Um, but what we did is we counted the amount of chirps and then we used our alphabet and used our alphabet as a key code. So A equals 1, B equals 2 to the 26 letters that we have. So we created somewhat of a code that we were able to transcribe into keynotes on within Ableton, which is a music program that Tyler has. So we created a song that was written by them. And so we took that and took the hertz of the chirps. Um, and we had Tarun, he's one of our contact tour members. He's a tech inventor. He has this light technology that he uses. It basically induces like a natural, almost kind of like DMT trip through light. It's like rapid lights, but it's used in like therapy and like more of a holistic modality. But we were able to take all of the hertz and the number and the notes that we transcribed, and we're able to play the transmission back with at the same amount of hertz with the lights going on and the sound going on as like a reply. And during the chirps that we were getting, we didn't actually have that much sky activity. It was all just like through the walkie talkies. But after we did all the work for that, took a nap, went back out, brought the light tech out, and then played it. Then we started having all this activity above us. So it was interesting to kind of take it to the next step and have more of like a scientific approach in a way. So we're trying to do more things like that and get more experimental on our communications. So we can start, creating more of a back and forth dialogue that is that we can actually like have evidence for with a clear message. But we're getting there.
Yeah,
Really cool though. You'll see that in our
it's so
next
cool.
YouTube video.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. And again, for those of you who haven't already yet, contact her on Instagram and on YouTube. And again, that's
Mm-hmm.
the project that Tyler and Sharon and some amazing others on the team, where they're going out on expeditions and documenting these contact experiences. And again, I know we're getting close to wrapping this up, and
Yes.
I did just want to be able to just kind of, and this doesn't even have to be something we have to talk about long, but just inviting even the audience, like trying to imagine, like how is this relationship going to evolve, and what is it going to look like, and will there be a point where literally even on the radio like a voice comes through and it's like, hey, what's up? It's me. It's the alien. Here I am, or something like that. Like, will it be that literal, or like what will like what will these contact experiences look like in a little bit longer? Because again, like
Mhm.
we said, it's developing a relationship, and I think you guys are doing a beautiful job of getting creative, and it's curious to just kind of imagine that as you develop new modalities, that they're finding new ways, and we're actually establishing a bridge of communication. But I'm just trying
Mhm.
to imagine, like in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years from now, like do you think much about like what this relationship of you guys doing contact tour may look like or even feel like?
Yeah, I do and I don't. I do and I don't.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this is where I feel very like just more of my multidimensionality has come online, and it's been like I've been personally integrating like being a human and a star seed because I've changed so much. And so where I have to honor myself and hold space and compassion for myself in this way, because I feel almost like, again, like weird, or like not like an odd one out, because I know I'm not, but I'm so like in the present that I think that's just like for me is where I serve and where I need to stay and where I need to be. But my vision as far as like what that would actually look like is yes, I'd love to see us interacting, but I feel like more intuitively like it's not going to be in physical form like the ways that we might hope. I think it'll be more of us on a collective level integrating more of our channels. I think it'll be more of like I think like we're already here. Like I feel like we're just there's aspects of ourselves that are very like and this is like what in the channeling work that I do, like I am embodying multiple beings during our CE5 expeditions, which we haven't talked about that much because we're getting there, because we have to take our steps, because the masses, they're just this is a very it's hard to explain because we have like the 3D consciousness that are still very like closed minded, that we have to open up to even really looking at the channeling work. And you know just calling more channelers to step into this work too, because the more that we can have people sharing their experiences within the channeling state, I think it'll really help shift this. But I feel like it's just us. Like we're just going to come more online to our galactic selves, and more of our galactic self will be able to kind of like will be able to shift into that state, and through our own consciousness then we'll be the ones that are kind of like remembering and activating the free technology, the free energy that we need, the solutions that we need. And whether that is from channeled by an extraterrestrial like feeling or energy that we're connecting with, so be it. But I feel like it's gonna yeah, like I feel like it's us, like it's not going to be something outside of ourselves. It's going to be us remembering more of who we are, which are multidimensional beings within this human. But we're coming more online to our galactic aspects, um, and even just like future timelines of ourselves that are merging. Like I've been speaking to a couple people that are like merging with their higher self, and this is like integrating within their human body in very interesting ways. um, but yeah, I mean, I'd also like to see schools for our children that are very galactic at their essence, and holding space to develop more of their psychic abilities from the get-go and not shut those down. But I feel like it's yeah, I'd like to say that they would come down on a craft, but I don't know. I intuitively kind of feel like it's going to be more of an internal, like us coming more online versus a physical thing, which may be a letdown for some people, but that's just how I actually feel about it. Tyler thinks completely differently. He's like, they're going to land. We're going to get them to land. But yeah, I don't know. I think again, like I'm just so in the internal experience, and that's just where my perspective is. So yeah, they're already here. Like
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
are them.
Yeah, I definitely yeah, I lean more kind of in with what you're saying. I mean, I think it's important to, be open to the idea of physical contact becoming more common. And
Yeah.
again, we hear
Hmm.
stories of some people, like literally there's multiple people that I know, and even like a woman who's like later into her like 50s and 60s, and she's like, I've been on their craft like multiple times. I'm not exactly sure if that
Hmm.
was like a dream experience, and who knows, I'd love to
Right.
even she actually may be someone who we might have on a future episode of Leading the Shift, now that I
Great.
think about it.
Would love to meet
But
her.
again, like within this, and just moving into the conclusion of our episode here, since we've been going a little bit longer than planned, and we'll make sure that we're just honoring our energies. I think it's one of those things
Hmm.
where it's like, if crazy physical contact occurs, great, awesome. If it doesn't happen anytime soon, great, awesome. So being able to remove any
Yeah.
sort of like codependency on that, I think is important,
Hmm.
because I think, again, I think the message is, it's like this is our story, this is our hero's journey. They're kind of like the older brother and sister, and they need us to be able to do this on our own. So they're just kind of cheering on from the
Yeah.
sidelines, throwing in like a little bit of like hints here and there and everything like that. But if they were to suddenly
Hmm.
just show up and kind of like take away that part of the story, it would almost be, just kind of, it would be taking away us being able to step into that potential fully within our own. It'd be like kind of like, like cracking open the chrysalis a little bit too early, sort of thing. So, I think
Yeah, I feel
there,
like the collective consciousness, like,
yeah,
yeah, and again, this is like where I'm like so in the present that like, um, yeah, I want to hold that vision, but I think right now, like,
yeah,
even in a few years, like, just being realistic on where, like, what we're dealing with, I think maybe in like 10 years or something. I don't know. I
that's
I
what I'm
don't have
thinking. Like
answers.
like
Like
I'm
the
imagining like
collective consciousness, like we still have work to do before that
we gotta
happens.
figure our shift out. Like, yeah,
Because what we would do, I mean, look at it, like if they came
how we
down, we
retreat.
would shoot them. We wouldn't, and I'm talking about our military, I'm talking about our governments right now. So I think, like, yes, in like I mean, we know we did see E5 with a guy who had physical contact face to face during an expedition. So like, yes, this can happen, but I'm talking on like a mass consciousness, like, or a mass level, like coming down in the middle of a city. Absolutely not. I feel like we still have to evolve our consciousness. If anything, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to have discernment on our own connection with them, and know, like, from our own firsthand experiences, what we are connecting with. Because yeah, if yeah, I don't want to, yeah,
I
I'm gonna just
agree.
end it
I
there.
agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's something where it's like, we
there's
could
an
sit here,
there's
we can,
agendas out here. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. And again, at the end of the day, be here now. Be where we
Be
are.
here
Focus
now.
on the work,
Yes.
and kind of like with what they're saying, like trust in the process, that there's certain things
Hmm.
that, honestly, like, and I've seen this before in consciousness, where there's certain things, and knowing that the future is kind of like already something that kind of exists, where like it's almost intentionally outside of our perception, because if we were to know it, it would
Yes.
change the way how we show up here and now.
Thank
So
you.
like, we're almost in this
Exactly.
space where it's like, not only do we not need to know, but we actually aren't supposed to know. So just kind of
Thank
trust
you
in
for
this
saying
process.
that.
And
Yeah.
that was something that I felt for quite a long time in relationship to a lot of things. But yeah, I definitely feel that,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely, yeah, I'm open to the possibility that as the future unfolds, we'll kind of be society will kind of move in multiple directions, and there will be these sovereign
Hmm.
societies and sovereign communities, and perhaps in those circumstances, like those would be people who will be, again, kind of like this new hippie
Yes.
generation, and they'll be doing CE5 like out in
Or
their little
yeah.
communities, and maybe that's when the physical contact will come down, and that's
Yes.
where, something else will happen. But it'll be happening in a
Exactly.
very, very personal, one-to-one, or very like small group interaction, in a way that's safe and intentional. So
It would, yeah, it would need to be, yeah, safe, and with a group that I feel like is trusted too, and they feel all of that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something to get excited about, something to work to, and something not to spend too much time dwelling on, because again, I think what's important is to be able to focus on the work that's here and now. And again,
Exactly.
it's exciting that each and every single one of us, knowing that CE5 is a part of this reality, that contact is a part of this reality. And even though it's something that we can work towards, again, I think it's just one small piece of a holistic perception, and
Hmm.
way of being able to live life. And again, when you continue to, as we said, when you continue to step into more of your authentic self, into more of your role as a leader within your own life,
Hmm.
everything else related to like the contact experiences, like those will come when the time is right, and just kind of being open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But start with where you are. Start within your own household. Start within your own physical temple. Start with your own personal relationships. Like that's what they would want us to do. They don't want us sitting there waiting, twiddling our thumbs, being like, any day, it's
Exactly.
like they're like, do the work, but
And that's what
also
it
do the
means to be an
play.
earth and exactly that's what it
Yeah,
means to be an earth and ambassador too, is like you're here representing earth and supporting earth and advocating for us to have the human experience, because that's what we're here to do, is to have the human experience here on this planet. It's not trying to
mm-hmm.
escape. And there's like humor where it's, and I've played with the humor too, like beam me up, but it's like, hey, but you came here to be here, so be here right now. And
Yeah,
I've gone through that too, of like, just integrating more of the multidimensional aspects of myself and feeling dissociated with being human because I'm too in these other realms, and it's like not healthy for the human experience. So like we're meant to be here right now, as you
yeah,
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whew.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we could go
Cool.
on and on about this, and like
We could.
there's so many different aspects and ways to like go into this conversation, and like just one bit of it opens like five other portals. So
Yes,
yeah.
very much so. Well, again, this is just for some people. This is just kind of like a small introduction, and we encourage people to
Yes.
continue looking into this, and again, just putting in the plug for the new show, Alien Encounters, on the Discovery
Oh
Plus
yeah.
network. Sharon and
Mm-hmm.
Tyler were featured in that, and you can rent that online for a few dollars and check it out. And congratulations again on that. Just knowing that synchronistically, the team behind that did an amazing job of being able to plant that seed into more of the collective culture. And now flash forward just like a year from last year, and like a ton of people know that contact is happening and that they can
Yep.
initiate it as well. So yeah, we'll get close to just being able to wrap it up here. And Sharon, anything else that we just want to be able to plug in, if there is anything you want to mention about what it was like being on that show, and even watching it, and then again, even just anything related to your music, how that's a part of the gift that you share with the world, and then anything you want to mention, inviting people into the community spaces that you facilitate as well, if you would like to share that. So
Yeah, yeah. The Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, both networks, they're kind of one network, but I've been noticing Travel Channel's a little bit easier. Just putting that out there for people who are looking for it. Travel Channel is a little bit easier to find. Doing the show was really nerve-wracking, because I have never done anything like that before. And just as somebody who has I'm just more in the spiritual sense, I'm a believer and I have faith in the non-physical, and that's a little bit challenging to verbalize. But I asked for and reached out to my Galactic Star family, and I right before it was my turn, they came through and they were up above me. And throughout my whole interview, there was just this, they just kept coming in as I was speaking, and I was sharing a lot about collective consciousness and everything that I've basically been sharing here about healing and the importance of it. Unfortunately, a lot of that didn't make the cut. They only used like one snippet about coherent thought sequencing for the show. That's okay. um, One thing, if anybody does watch it, again, so grateful for the opportunity, but definitely grateful to have a different perspective and a different voice, compared to a lot of the other voices that were in the show, which you'll feel when you watch it. So it's just beautiful to bring a little bit of light to the situation that is sometimes painted very suspensefully and dark. So yeah, just again, this is why making contact is so important. And so we build discernment on our own relationship with them. So yeah, definitely check it out if you'd like to. It was fun. And um, speaking of contact tour, I have been feeling the call, and this is again just like staying in the present, feeling what's most exciting, feeling what into like energetically micro, what lights me up, what would light others up, is more community expeditions. It's something that's been asked for a lot. That has just been we had one expedition that just so many people came to it. We were a little overwhelmed. So just learning from that experience and the year of expeditions that we've been going on. And so I'm planning a local expedition here in Costa Mesa, California, something that I'm taking more of the lead on to just bring more people together in person. and build more of a community. And my intention with this is to almost kind of like recruit more earth ambassadors and teach them and guide them. And over time, naturally, I'm sure I'll find them to help create more groups, and that ripple effect of more people coming together and doing this in within our local community, so we can do it more regularly, because right now our team is kind of spread out in different cities, so we go like once a month, and have to like plan and everything. So creating more space for regular expeditions is something that is on the way as soon as this month, that I'll be announcing on Contact Tour soon. Tyler will be there too, and it'll be a lot of fun for us to get together and just have these conversations and go deeper in person. um, and just for anybody who wants to connect with me further, I do have an online membership portal where I offer weekly meditations. So if you want to just start practicing and have a community of others that are also just on this journey of connecting deeper within, you can check out my website. It's sharethelight.love. And I have a few different tiers. So if you're looking for meditation and just more energetic maintenance support, we meet every Monday, and on Tuesdays, I have a light language sanctuary that is purely for other channelers who are just looking to nurture, activate more, and just gain confidence within their own channel. And again, just finding others that feel the way that we feel. And so, yeah, those are two resources out there for you. Myself and Contact Tour both have YouTube channels as well with more information. I haven't posted a video in a long time, but I do talk a little bit more about energetics and channeling on my channel, which is just Share the Light. And then all of our sightings, our expeditions, like our vlogs that you can watch and actually see what we're talking about and how we go about this, and kind of step by step, almost like tutorial vlog style, is in our YouTube on Contact Tour. So I think we've already linked everything on the description of what you're listening to now. Um, and yeah, sound and light language is a big part of how I express myself and how I support the collective, and just invoking more feeling through music. So I do have a song that I just released recently on Lionsgate called Strength, which is a beautiful transmission that was birthed at the peak of COVID. Actually, it's interesting because I don't resonate with the frequency that I was at that point, because I've done so much growing and rebirth since that song. But it is like almost an anthem for those who are feeling so much, and a call to connect with your higher self and your guides. It's almost like a prayer song. So if you're looking for something that will activate your light language, you can listen to my music. It's very powerful in that way. I also have another song, Initiation, and another one coming out very soon that Tyler and I have been working on called Mama Gaia, which is dedicated to planet Earth. So yeah, that's pretty much everything to kind of plug in right now, besides my love for you guys. I love you guys so much.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you again for being here on the discussion tonight. And yeah, again, I know we went a little bit longer than we intended
It's
to.
okay.
Time is such a weird thing when we start getting excited about the topics we love to share. So,
It literally collapses. It doesn't
oh yeah,
exist. But I
yeah,
do feel you. We've been going on for a minute. I
yeah,
do
yeah,
have
yeah.
so many meditations, just to plug that to, like, if you guys want to do a CE5 meditation, just head over to
Mhm.
Tektor's Instagram and head to the IG Live tab, because need to bring that back, by the way. But we've done so many like live meditations there, so that's a great resource to just head to if you want to just go there
That's
and
cool.
listen and drop in.
Yeah, because you were doing like you were making music even like before the CE5 stuff kind of came into your reality. Is that correct?
Yeah, Contact Tour actually started as a music series. Like
Yeah.
we our intention was to, because Tyler and I are both DJs. Tyler's like an international DJ. He goes by DJ Tease or Tease. Um, and yeah, I mean, we our intention with Contact Tour was to hold shows and just do our music thing through DJing, but have the visuals and the aesthetic of our events kind of more subliminally waking people up through sharing sightings. as visuals, you know, having, you know, an extraterrestrial kind of more as like the face of our event company. And we did have two sold out shows in Japan, Tokyo and Osaka, through Contact Tour, where myself and him and two of our other good friends, TLX and Dead Robot, played. And then COVID happened. So we couldn't do the shows anymore. And so we pivoted and just, you know, Tyler took the lead as far as just sharing the information that he's been gathering forever, and um, posting more videos of what we were doing, which was making contact. And so music is something that Tyler and I both started off with. Like, music has been our original passions. And it's coming back around. Contact Tour is actually, we're creating a music label. We have a beautiful conscious rapper Draft who made a song all about CE5. It's so dope. And so that's going to be releasing soon. We have a music video for it as well that's already made, ready to go. We're kind of like in the middle of a rebranding right now. So um, yeah, and so I'll be releasing music under Contact Tour. We already have songs out on Spotify under Contact Tour as well. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, we have all of the music that are played during our CE5 expeditions are all original by Tyler. He's an amazing producer. So there's like soundscapes and just different more atmospheric things that you can listen to under Contact Tour as well.
It's so cool, man. Just
Yeah.
the amount of beautiful things that you guys have to offer, and again, I'm excited for a lot of people who maybe hadn't even known that you guys had like so much going on for them to be able to explore it and
Mm-hmm.
get to experience it themselves. So with that said, I think we're about ready
Yeah.
to just be able to move into conclusion. And you know,
Yes.
I know we talked about doing a meditation, but even if it's just
All
something
good, bro.
simple, if anything, I'd be more than fine to just lead us into just like literally just like something super short, and then we can just close it off from there. And
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of like honor where the energies are at. So yeah, any final closing thoughts? I'm just thinking again, you know, in conclusion for everybody here, remember you are leaders of the shift, and so whether you're fascinated by the concept of contact, you know, that's just one part of this bigger story. But ultimately, this story is about being able to find our way back to the magic of the heart, and really just encouraging you guys each and every single day to just continue to embody the beautiful vibrations that you are here to be able to share, and that in itself will change the world. So Sharon,
Mhm.
anything else, just closing thoughts, and then we'll get right into the meditation. And it can just
Oh
be
no,
gratitude even. So
yeah, I'm just so grateful. I'm
yeah.
just so grateful for this talk, and whoever finds it, I know that you're in resonance with this frequency, and I just send you all of my love and support. And yeah, Brendan and I are both here to help in any way that we can. And yeah, just keep
Yeah.
breathing, staying within, stay in your experience.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, what are you feeling in terms of just like a closing meditation? How's your energy right now? Do you feel like you do you want me to just do it?
Yeah, you can totally. I'm so happy to receive. I'm
Sure,
always
sure.
leading, so I will receive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. And again, for those of you, because I know we mentioned it, for those of you who haven't experienced Sharon's light language, check out more on her Instagram page, and you can be able to
Yeah.
hear it, and again through the music there as well. So with that said, thank you so much again, everyone, for joining in. We'll just conclude just with a very very short, just little moment of meditation, just be able to bring ourselves back into our heart space and conclude with gratitude. So for everybody here, when you're ready, just take this opportunity, just get yourself nice and comfortable. You can put your hands either just gently on your lap, or even just put your hands on your heart space. And when you're ready, just go ahead and gently close your eyes. I'm just taking this opportunity to just connect in with our breath. Soft, gentle inhales, soft, gentle exhales. And as you breathe here, just allowing yourself to arrive into your heart space and just taking a moment to just be able to connect with gratitude. Gratitude for this conversation that we've shared here today. Gratitude for Sharon for bringing her gifts and her magic into this world. Gratitude for yourself for being here to receive the wisdom and inspiration of this conversation that you'll carry with you out into the world. And as we just allow ourselves to be in this space of gratitude, let us just continue to open our minds and our hearts to this beautiful vision of what is possible for this world. And we want to just take this opportunity to just be able to connect through your heart to this bigger galactic family that we are a part of. Knowing that each and every single one of us as soul have chosen to come here, so to speak, to be able to be a part of this incredibly beautiful transformational period on Earth. And so right now, just allow yourself to just know that these OUs, these other us's, ETs, they see you in this moment, and they just send you nothing less than infinite love. And so just allow yourself to just be open to receiving this, and even just imagining almost just like this beautiful pouring down of this light, just coming down from the stars. And as it rolls through your body, just moving through your heart, and just nurturing your heart like a beautiful hug from the inside. And as you're in this space of receiving, just invite you to be able to just speak words of gratitude to this connection that we share with our bigger galactic family. What would you like to be able to say to them here in this moment? Just go ahead and take this opportunity to just reflect and just speak within your heart. Just continuing to breathe here, I just invite you to be able to receive through your heart any wisdom that they have to share with you. And so in this moment, try not to overthink it. Just imagine, what would they say to you right now? If these galactic family members were talking to you right now, what would they say to you? Something to nurture and inspire your heart. Just allow yourself to feel and to just allow whatever you hear within your heart to just rise gently to the surface. What do they have to say to you right now in this moment to nurture your heart?
Kira soto de dem yoko I shikira tadam ya lukulera titia yoko sham yamakwana. Te akolo today I'm yoko yashi. Ni aya kai shikita yikite roro ram yirikrea shikiyama. Wawaya kia. Nerete ai shiko tsurem ya yokwaya shatsa. Kia shatsa iduduri. Jodam ya yakain churum nira. Moai satai shikai shikiti tit ishkuruma. Diaiko. Muti aishi. Ni ai kai shikata na ni ai kitichi. Nio chikiyatsa.
Beautiful. Just breathing here in this moment, just a nice, big, beautiful inhale, and maybe just bringing a soft, gentle smile to your face. Nice, beautiful exhale. You are right where you need to be, and you have everything you need within arm's reach. You are supported, you are seen, you are loved. And who you are today is just a fraction of who you are becoming as you continue to unfold through this beautiful journey of your life. And Sharon, if there's anything else you wish to share from your heart in this moment before we conclude this meditation, you're more than welcome to.
Dosha wakam kriya satya sutirin yukui kaishia. Wayakia chia sutiran wakurin yikai sutida kurukan yirati shikadam. Nia shotsikiara chiki etsuru nira kitirichi.
Just taking a couple more breaths here, just allowing yourself to receive the frequency of this light language and reminding yourself that you too carry this light code, this light language within you, and you express it out into this world every single day through your actions, through your words, through your thoughts, through your art, through your songs. And so from here, simply by tuning into this broadcast, just know that you have filled your cup up with a little bit more magic. And may you continue to bring it with you into the days still to come. And may you move forward from this moment with more grace, with more confidence, with more synchronicity, with more inspiration. And so on behalf of myself and Sharon, we thank you so much for being here on this earth at this time, in this moment. We are so excited to be able to share this journey ahead. And so the leaders within us see and honor the leaders within you. So just take a couple more breaths here. Nice big exhales. And one more nice inhale. Nice soft exhale. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can gently begin to bring awareness back to your physical body. You wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and slowly open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you.
Thank you.
Yay, we did it. Yay. Cool. So, for those of you in the YouTube chat, for those of you on Instagram, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please feel free to share any gratitude, as well as in 1 or 2 words, how are you feeling right now? Whether it just be from that meditation, or maybe perhaps just from tuning in and listening to the stories and inspiration that we've had the honor of being able to share here with you today. So we'll just conclude here with some closing notes, and again, inviting everyone to be able to connect with Sharon, to be able to check out her membership portal, to be able to follow her for plenty more contact tour content, as well as the contact tour Instagram page and YouTube page, where you can literally see the documented expeditions they've gone on with documented sightings that Tyler and the team have done such an excellent job of being able to honor and share. And lots more awesome things still to come, including Sharon's music, in-person events as well. And yeah, Sharon, is there anything else you would like them to be able to know before we get to the closing moments here?
No, just so grateful for you guys existing here on Earth during this time. And yeah, I got you. I got you in the quantum. I'm holding you right now in my heart. And yeah, let's just keep doing it, doing our best every day, and staying in our heart space, holding unconditional love for everything that we experience in all moments to the best of our ability, following our excitement. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So again, just closing notes for anybody else here who would like to be able to connect further with the work that I do in the community. Again, we have the Paradigm Shift Central community. It's a community of conscious creators, conscious media creators, and leaders. And you guys are welcome to connect to the Discord. That's in the information for this YouTube video and in my profile link on Instagram. And again, that's Mystic Spider-Man on Instagram. And again, I've also got a Patreon membership. Feel free to check out the tiers there, see which one resonates with you. We've got exclusive online events, very similar to what Sharon does as well, which is why it's so cool knowing that there's people out there also rocking it. And yeah, lots of other exciting things still to come. So feel free to check out more podcast episodes on Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube at Skull Babylon, and lots of other regular ongoing events and broadcasts to be able to nurture your spirit and inspire your soul. So from here, we invite you to be able to continue these conversations, bring them with you out into the world. And yeah, we thank you and honor you so much for being a part of this beautiful story that we are co-creating here together. So all the links you need are in the info for this video. And yeah, that concludes this episode of Leading the Shift. And stay tuned for the ongoing unfolding magic in the story, and happy contact. So Sharon, with that said, we shall wrap it up here, and I'll bring up the outro music. So let's say farewell and until next time. So thank you, everybody. We love you guys. Farewell until next time. Love you. It's beautiful. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone. Much love. And as always, keep it shifty, and welcome to the future.